Now, how can we achieve all of that holistic assessment, since for now we're talking about Ogoni and just Bodo community, but now you've just mentioned a whole lot of other communities. How can we achieve that holistic assessment?
Yeah, so the government needs to step up immediately and announce the professionals of both host communities and international communities to also come in, because it's obvious that Shell can always step up when they see pressures from international community. The UN should also extend their course of investigations to those areas. No, I'm not saying only Bayelsa. You know, there's Delta State, there's places in Opuruza and all those places. They have oil. You know, you can also both in Akwa Ibom State. So it's not just Bayelsa as a whole, but the whole of the Niger Delta. You know, the investigation should cut across. You know, Ogoni is just one small area in Rivers State. So it's just a tip.
Before this report and the outcome of this judgment, being president of the youth in Bayelsa worldwide, have you been in talks with the Ministry of Niger Delta in terms of cleaning up the environment?
I think we really need to do an amendment to the regulations that manage oil spill, because severally we have written when there are issues arising in our own state, we have written to the Federal Ministry of Environment, and yet they always try to sweep the issues under the carpet, because whenever there's oil spill, immediately even the community try to group themselves together and try to write to the ministry, notifying them. The ministry will now write to the oil company, and that's how it's being done. Before they come for a JIV, like I told you, the JIV will be a collective team from the community, the ministry, the Nostra, and the oil company. But it's so sad that they always try to mislead the communities, not knowing that what should be done, because the international oil company standard to clean out oil, even if it's one bucket, is $100,000.
So let me ask you a question.
But they award contracts of 800,000 naira to go and clean oil spill in this present Nigeria, saying that, because it's 2 buckets of oil that have been spilled. So you can imagine.
Mr. Elvis, let me ask you, have you been pleased with the reaction? I mean, since the UNEP report came out, Nigerians have been outraged, you know, that, you mean this is the extent of the devastation in Ogoni land. Yes, we heard about Ogoni, but it seems to be one of the many places that we've heard. But coming from the Nigerian government, have you been happy with the kind of reaction that you've seen them give to the UNEP report?
Of course I'm not happy. That's why I mentioned that when we begin to raise this issue, we'll roam NNPC and all these federal government bodies, even the Federal Ministry of Environment into it, because it is obvious that in the past, those at the helms of affairs knows our problem and have refused to take this drive step that Goodluck Jonathan has taken. You know, because if probably we don't have Goodluck Jonathan and probably the Minister of Petroleum Affairs, Denzani, in that place, probably this whole revolution wouldn't have come out. You know, because this thing has started since 1956.
Will you be happy? Will you be happy if nothing is done and they leave office? Because now you have
that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
People from that region at the helms of affairs. Once upon a time, it wasn't the story.
Yeah.
So, will you be happy? Because they say it's going to take 30 years, but we had an environmentalist here who said, well, it could be fixed in less than that time, possibly 5 years.
Of course, I'm not going to be happy, because believe me, if the government has taken some decisions that are not good, that are not fine to me, I will come out and speak. Like I told them when they set up a fact-finding team to go and negotiate with the Boko Haram. I said it can't happen. I made a public statement. I called a press conference in Yenagua and I addressed people, because I had my own positions as an international negotiator certified by Oxford. You see, I have my own opinion. I'm entitled to my own opinion. So if there are issues that the government is doing and that are not fine to me, I will air my views. It's not because the president is from my place.
A certified negotiator, how can we use that to bring all the oil companies and communities on the table and get all of this fixed?
My paper is on top of the table of the MD of Shell, Motu Somone. He knows. We've written to the MD of Ajib. because those are the two major oil companies in Bayelsa State, Shiro Pagamu. Our papers are there because we are calling them to negotiation table to come and give us an overhaul of what they have been doing in terms of oil cleanup in our land.
Shell and Ajib, have they been, what's the response so far?
Yeah. They have been worse to respond. That's why they sabotage. Because our people, they've been worse to response. That's why they have been sabotaged. Because our people, when they feel frustrated, that is when they go into sabotage. It's not as if anybody is going to blow an oil pipe because he loves to damage his land. But it's because when you write to these people, there's no response because they have to romance those at those in power, and you cannot get to them. They are safeguarded in their big oil company yard of security. So
that is why we say it shouldn't be business as usual, because now you have Daisy and Alison Madueke from your region. She's there. That is what we call power. We have the president. He's from that region. That is power. So they can't be romanced when they know that their children, their land will be devastated.
Yeah, that is why this Ogoni issue is coming. How can Ogoni issue be coming out now? That is enough reason to tell you that the president is doing something. There was a report before the United Nations came in. There was a report about the assessment of damage towards on Ogoni people, which was chaired by one professor. So at that point, you will see that it's because we have these people, and that's why these revolutions are coming out now. But these things have been ongoing, not today. Like I told you, in 1956, have you seen the abandoned rig called Oloibri, the first oil well which is supposed to be a museum in this country? Go and look at it and see how devastated that place is. Is a forest. Grass has grown surrounded that oil rig. So you can imagine abandoned oil, and there are so many others in Bayelsa State which are even gawking at little oil.
So in closing, now you have reached into Shell and Ajib and you say, well, the response is not encouraging. As a negotiator, what should be the next step?
Negotiations is a process, and one of the first process of negotiations is knowing your audience. We already know that they will give us some level of blank response, so we are not bothered. What we do will not, and we won't relent. Negotiations also demand the negotiator in place to be patient, exercise a little patience. So we are going to perseverance. We are going to persevere. We are going to be patient, but we will still write to the president, making him understand that look, we want to bring these people to a negotiation table so that they will understand that we want to be involved. Right now, as our boys are coming back from this amnesty training, when they will begin to know how to manage oil spillage, they will not go, when you are appointed as a CDC chairman in your community, you wouldn't go and sign, when there is 20 buckets of oil spillage in your community, you go and sign 2 buckets so that NAPIMS will say, okay, they are trying to cut costs to save money for Nigeria. That is what they are doing.